Tonight we are going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about, do you bond when you have sex? What is the energy exchange that happens there? We're going to talk about different kinds of sex and also just look at it from a place of what works best for you. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Okay, sex. Let's talk about sex. That's one of my favorite subjects. Coffee talk. Hold on. I gotta start out with this. So I'm gonna do my best to be respectful to all involved in this video. But I want to start out by saying that I was not raised with organized religion. My parents were hippies. My godmother's Native American. I grew up with on a commune where people swam naked and everything was pretty cool. So I did not grow up in a normal conventional way. But because of it, I also don't have a lot of the restrictions and fear and judgment around the idea of sex. So this is simply my opinion. I'm going to share it with you today. To bond or not to bond? That is the question. So, do we share energy when we have sex? I've had people ask me this question a lot. And there is a chemical reaction that women particularly have when they have sex where they release the bonding hormone. And it happens later with babies. Apparently men don't release that particular hormone when they have sex. All chemistry aside, I will say this. It is very, very important to know yourself. Everybody is different. There are some people who cannot have sex unless there is a deep, intimate trust and connection. And there's a lot of vulnerability around it. And then there are people that have sex like they're having a massage and it's just something that feels really good. I don't think there's any judgment about right or wrong in regards to sex, except for, is it loving to yourself and the other, or is it hurtful? That's kind of how I judge right or wrong in most situations. Does it hurt or does it heal? These are my balancing points. So whatever the nature of the union is, there is a way to approach it where you are being of the utmost respect to yourself and the other person. And so, do you share energy? Well, you can, and you cannot. I will say, in my experience, it is so much better. And the part that I really like about having sex is having that connection. That's the excitement of it, and that's the passion of it. And so for me, that's a big part of the turn on of the experience. But again, it's really important to know yourself. I have talked to people that said, I need to get laid. And they say that is their intention. Then they go have sex with somebody and then they call me up and they're upset because they didn't get a text the next day or call the next day and they felt blown off and hurt. That's really setting yourself up for failure because you're not going into it with clear intentions. You're kind of not knowing yourself. If you know that this is something vulnerable for you, and therefore if you share in this kind of intimate way, you're gonna need that connection afterwards, then don't just go have sex with somebody because that's gonna end up being harmful to you. If that's something that you're gonna do, it's really important to know that, hey, this is just gonna be sex, and there's a way to do that is really respectful to the other person and to yourself. It's not about not being kind. It's not about not caring. It's just saying, this is the nature of this that we're agreeing upon. And there's a lot of different reasons. Sometimes people aren't in a place to have a relationship. I know a lot of different philosophies will say don't have sex if you're not in a relationship and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I don't really have those black and white answers to things. I think every situation is different and it depends on where you're at in your life. Are you in a place where, for example, you're in your experimental phase where you're checking out your sexuality and you're kind of pushing your limits as far as what you like and what you don't like and what works for you and what doesn't work for you? Again, it's so important to come back to, is it harmful or is it loving? It's like there's a way to approach sex with curiosity and playfulness. It doesn't have to be like this intense, ravenous, predatorial like image that some people like to create around just having sex. So I think it's about knowing where you're at in life. And so you might be in this place where you're exploring your sexuality, and that's a really important part of life to be in. Or you might be at a point in your life where you've already done that and you have found what you like and you don't like. Maybe the next great frontier and the thing that is really scary and vulnerable to you is actually being more vulnerable, more intimate, more present, more connected. That's a whole different kind of experience. And so that requires trust. So it's all good. It's all good as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody. Have at it. There's a saying that I've heard from my godmother. She says, tell the truth and tell it early, especially to yourself. I apply that to everything. It's just very important to see things clearly, to see them for what they are and not what you want them to be or what you think they could be later. Projecting into a fantasy is not anything that you can really rely on. And so tell the truth and tell it early, especially to yourself. It might be that you have a casual sexual relationship with someone and then you start to have feelings for them. And maybe the agreement was that this was a casual relationship. Then you tell yourself the truth. Okay, I'm developing feelings here. And then you tell them the truth. You know what? I'm developing feelings now. And I realize that I can't do this in the same way. So I just wanted to let you know. If it's something that you want to explore to go deeper, literally or figuratively, we can do that. If it's not something you're open to, then we probably should end this now. I think that's respectful to yourself and respectful to the other person. And to me, with sex, that's just really important. If it's handled with respect, it can be something that just adds color to your life. If it's used in a way to manipulate, if it's used in a way to escape yourself, that shit's never gonna work and it causes more pain. And so that's something you have to be able to look at within yourself. Anyway, that's the first of probably many topics regarding this subject, but thank you for listening and I'll see you soon. Today we're going to be talking about sex. To bond or not to bond? That is the question. Of sex? Of sex? Wait, what? Y'all ready to talk about sex?